Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. So, I wanted to continue on with Torah study or Old Testament Bible, if you will. So, what I'm about to do may really upset a few people, and that is not my intention. Um, I'm going to make a statement, and please don't stone me. Noah is Nimrod. And so, what you're about to see, and I'm going to explain why Canaan he is trying to curse. And I'm going to explain why ultimately Ham is the one that explains to his brothers about Noah's nakedness. So let me explain. Technically, me and John the Baptist are Canaanites. As you've heard me say before, Judah and Tamar had twins. Judah's first two children died. And so the twins that would be bred from that came from a Canaanite woman. And then she was labeled as a prostitute. And so technically she would be of Judah's religion, so to speak, or Judah's spirit, Judah's wife, if that makes sense. And what she gave birth to were twins. So let me explain something. The idea of what Nimrod did was he was a mighty hunter before the earth. And so you'll see that when you read Noah, you'll see that he flooded the earth, right? So then he killed all other teachings and all other things and put the dread of everything into everybody's hearts for his children. So if you look at what's happening, Nimrod was the first mighty hunter on the earth. He took over the earth, and I'm going to start reading some of the things he did, right? So you go to the descendants of Ham, right? Nimrod, who was the first heroic warrior on earth since he was the greatest hunter in the world. His name became proverbial, right? So he flooded all other things and he became on top the hero. People would say this man is like Nimrod, the greatest hunter in the world. He built his kingdom in the land of Babylonia with these cities, right? Babylon, Erech, Akkad, Calneh. From there, he expanded his territory to Assyria, building the cities of Nineveh and all these other cities. And so if you read into what happened with Nimrod, he took over a bunch of stuff, right? So I liken him to Noah, right? He was the first Messiah. So then if you look at the acts and the things that he did, he spread wickedness throughout the earth, right? But in his mind, to his Lord, it would have been good. To his perception, he would have been doing the right thing. And so if he's a mighty hunter of men, he's killing prophets and stuff, if that makes sense. He's killing people that are teaching he is wrong. And so I'll give you an example. You notice in how they're called the son of men? Because the original man was Adam. But a lot of these other people aren't sons of Adam because what they're doing is they're sons of the serpent, if that makes sense. They're wed to the serpents. And so ultimately, what you're looking at is a situation where then you have different men come and expose this, right? So I'll give you an example. We'll show that Canaan was cursed because of what Noah did, right? So if Nimrod is considered like Noah and Canaan saw what Nimrod was doing, right? So then Canaan would have been like Nimrod. Canaan would have been violent and wicked like the grandfather. So then you go later down the line, how does Shem play into this in Japheth, right? So then you would have this major religion that's being formed throughout the earth, right? So who was one of the major enemies in the Old Testament? One of the people that was coming out and they were fighting over and over because of wickedness. The Canaanites. Who was before the Canaanites? Nimrod, their Messiah of darkness, right? So then if you really pay attention to this and know a story, he burned up all the clean things and killed all the men on earth. What did Nimrod do? He was killing all the men on earth and he was burning up all the clean things. A mighty hunter before who I am. So then you go even further. All the men from earth, if Nimrod was first, came from him. So these are all his kids and grandkids and all this stuff, if this makes sense. I'm giving it to you in a way that you can spiritually understand. So then what happens later down the line? I say, do not mix with the land of Canaan because of their wickedness, because of their grandfather, right? Their forefather. So then what happens? Shem enters the land through Joshua. And this is why I'm saying, like, if you notice, it says the Pharaoh slithered into my garden. So then Joshua intermingled with the Canaanites. And before that, he had the law of Moses, which he perpetuated, right? Instead of the stone, the 10 Commandments. So then you go further. Now Shem is covering up the darkness because Shem is in the lands, right? If this is making sense. So then you go even further. You go and you look at this and you say, then Japheth came and covered this up also, because then remember, you have Europe get involved. You have the Greeks and the Romans and the Anglo-Saxons, and then they get involved. So if you look at that in a group of people, and let me conceptualize this, you would have Nimrod, a mighty person. He called himself the Messiah at first. He did all these things at first. Then you would have a grandson birthed out of that, the land of Canaan, and then all their wicked rituals and the stuff that they were doing and things like that. So then out of that, you have a group of people who are supposed to be set aside and holy. They go into this land and cover up the darkness and start perpetuating what these people are doing over time. Then you go in further, then another group of people, we'll call it Japheth, go in there and cover up the land. So then what happens is, now you have an institution that everybody that tries to uncover this and show their brothers what's going, or show the real name, or show what's happening, they are cursed, if that makes sense. And so if you look at, I brought up me and John the Baptist are like Canaanites, right? So if you look at that and you look at what's paying attention, technically we're of the line of Ham. And so every time Ham tries to uncover his father's wickedness, Nimrod's wickedness, the first one who built the tower, we are attacked over and over and over and over again and slaughtered. It's the same perpetual idea of Cain and Abel. When Abel tries to teach to sacrifice the firstborn of the flock, what we first are bred with, right? So remember I said first we're like, we're all beasts, but then we sacrifice that and give birth to something else, right? Then we're attacked. Am I talking about literally killing things and sacrifices? No. When these people in the Jewish religion talk about how sacrifices are important for foreshadowing, because it's a lesson teaching about taking away from something that can cause harm. So it's a foreshadowing of things, if that makes sense. So then I will actually read the story, the Tower of Babel. So then look at this. Let's say you have a civilization, and this whole civilization has a common goal. They all believe in a common thing, and they have a common setting. Well, then the higher they reach to the heavens, so to speak. So I'll give this to you in a real world example. You have 10 scholars, or I'll go even more basic. You have 10 people, and those 10 people, you give the knowledge of all these things, right? So those 10 different people become 10 scholars. When you bring those 10 scholars together that were first in the room and just normal people, they're going to have differences in opinions, beliefs, and different things, because they built towers to the sky, so to speak. Now, am I saying gaining knowledge is wrong? No. But what I'm saying is, when you then use that for good and evil, when those scholars go, my information is right, I'll stone you, or then other ones are attacking each other and fighting over that knowledge, then you're building your own personal towers. So what happens is, over time, people begin to learn different things and come from different points of view. And so then their language changes, their speech changes, and they begin to fight each other. So what happens in religion? Look at even from who you all call Jesus Christ. You all have 45,000 different denominations of Christianity now. You see how that's working? That's different towers. You spoke different language now because you built yourself too high. And I'm going to make a statement. People that are too high are going to be brought low, and people that are low are going to be brought back up, and that are the intentions of things. At one time, all people of the world spoke the same language and used the same words. As the people migrated to the east, they found a plain in the land of Babylonia and settled there. And so you keep seeing these Babylon, Babylon, Babylon. Look at how there's a Babylonian Talmud now. Look at how there's what are they called, Messianic, or not even Messianic, but what's the mysticals and Kabbalahs and all these different magics that goes against the law. This is what I'm trying to get people to understand. Like, you guys are playing with words. You really are. So Babylon been crept into the garden a long time ago. There's even a book called the Babylonian Talmud. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? And so when I say that Nimrod is Noah, And what they're doing is they're changing names of things. Now I am making this naked and showing my brothers. And what's going to happen? They're going to attack me and call me the devil and curse me. It's the perpetual way of things, I'm telling you. But I'm going to come and do what's right and be the lamb, so to speak. But now, okay. They began saying to each other, let's make bricks and harden them with fire. So concepts, they're building, no stone will be left tore down. They're building concepts. And this region, bricks were used instead of stone. Then they said, come, let's build a great city for ourselves. The Pharaoh who said, this is the city of my, or the rivers are my own. They're following after their fathers. So the pharaohs would have been before any of this. Egypt was first. And actually, I found a scripture in the Bible that said Egypt was first. I promise you it did. And if you actually read this book for yourself and understand what's going on, you can see everything that goes against my stone, so to speak, the original 10 commandments, after they came, is going against what they knew to be right, because then I gave them the stone. And then before that, it was just foolery. You see what I'm saying? And over time, I'm teaching and I'm being merciful. Then they said, let's build a tower that reaches to the sky. So the sky will be the hearts or the brain, or however you want to look at this. If you have a spiritual matrix and what's on the earth is walking through the earth dealing with men, then if you're building a tower to the sky, you're trying to basically be in the hearts of all man. You're trying to build a tower into the heart. This will make us famous and keep us from being scattered all over the world. But then I came down to look at the city and the tower that people were building. Look, the people are united. They all speak the same language. After this, nothing they set out to do will be impossible. So imagine if Pharaoh took over the entire world and we were living under the ancient Pharaoh system right now. Imagine if North Korea or different places are dictators. And let me just shout out disclaimers. I don't know these people personally. I'm going off information I'm given. So just imagine if, from what I know, imagine if the Ku Klux Klan took over the world and we lived by their ideology, or Southern racist terrorists. You see what I'm saying? So things have to be split up and divided sometimes. Come, let us go down there and confuse the people with different languages. Then they won't be able to understand each other. Then I scattered them all over the world and they stopped building that city. That is why it is called Babel. So if you pay attention to what's going on and lived out throughout history, Shem and Japheth covered Nimrod's teachings and all this other stuff. And then they were increased, were they not? Now look at what we say, Shem is blessed, and we're following after the God of Abraham and the Abrahamic religions. Abraham came out of Babylon. They're telling you over and over and over what's happening. And sometimes I even ask, like, why am I given this stuff? Why am I being told to reveal this stuff? And then over time, I realize why. I listen to people talk and they keep building up their own towers, their own civilization, their own cultures, racism, the anti-us versus them. And it's about all humans. We are all a part of the body, so to speak. And we're destroying each other and picking off parts of the body, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I just thought that was interesting. So, I mean, this time, though, hand will no longer be cursed, if that makes sense. I have a ring of fire around me spiritually. So I'm not, and the stone is before me. I'm not going to allow mankind to manipulate me anymore, if that makes sense. So I'm not a violent person or anything like that, but I can see for what it is now. And so I'm just going to, over time, continue to show these things. If you look at what Japheth did, right, it extended its borders. Now the European nation has almost conquered the world, so to speak, and they have taken over everything. And you look at what's happening with Shem, they're considered the originals, or the Hebrews, or whatever you want, not the Hebrews, but whatever you want to call them. I still consider Hebrews to be of the Africans, because they were, I'm just telling you, this isn't racism. Like, you guys keep saying Moses came out of Egypt and Africa and all this other stuff and all this ancient land. And then even if you look at what's happening, if Nimrod took over Assyria and all this other stuff, then basically what I'm looking at is, you guys keep saying the Neo, what is it called? The Indus Valley was taken over by the Assyrians later. That sounds like payback. So Nimrod went and did all this stuff, and then the Assyrians came down, and the different people out of Europe came down and attacked the Indus Valley in different places. So it's even written in the book that Egypt was first in Canaan and all this land of Africa and stuff. And then they went to the east and built Canaan. And then they went even further and flooded the world. And then Nimrod built a city in Babylon. So So that's what I'm saying. So a lot of these, so people look at these ancient stories like the flood story from Noah, and they'll be like, why are these from ancient Mesopotamia? It's an ancient Mesopotamian story. I just uncovered it for you. It's a story of Nimrod and his cultures and his lords and his gods. And they covered it up and put Noah there. Then you look at Japheth, they put it in the Bible and created the Holy Bible and spread it throughout the world. You see what I'm saying? So I'm exposing these things. I'm uncovering Pharaoh and Cain. Cain is murder for the law. Pharaoh is lying and making a man god to where you guys are trying to follow a god and then you destroy yourselves. And that's why I'm putting the stone at the end of each of these videos, the circumcision of the heart. And then what I'm putting is the prophets and then the stream about the mercy and the love and not forsaking yourself or forsaking others. So, you know what I mean? I just want to put a lot of that out there. Am I saying people are evil? No, we fight against principalities, powers that be. So the things that manipulate people and cause harm. And so I'm going to make a statement right now, and people can get mad at me if they want. Do I hate transsexual people? No. But I do not like the fact that people are teaching people that they can be any gender and mutilate themselves and change their sex at any time. That's opposite to nature. And they don't teach about all the steroids, chemicals, and hormones you have to take. You can clearly YouTube and Google the information about what happens to the body and how doctors have to be with these people and help them over and over and over throughout life, and how a lot of them deal with suicide and depression and different things. Do all communities deal with suicide and depression? Yes. But what I'm saying is they're being manipulative with the information that they give out. And they're going against what is natural for the body. And so like that's a concept. And so I'm trying to teach people the light before they do something, because I don't want them to destroy their physical body or themselves, not knowing the information involved. Just like on the last video, you saw me smoking a cigarette, but what did you see me doing? Giving a heavy disclaimer of how it causes physical problems and how it messes up the body, so to speak. So I'm gonna give you guys another review real quick. Babylon. I'm going to explain something. They put every teaching, every man's words, every civilization into this book from the days of old. If you are to have one husband and you're to be the bride, and you read this whole book and get all these different men's words, you're Babylon. You're messing with every different civilization and teachings and all this other stuff and mixing it into the one, and you're being the bride of the serpent, if that makes sense, the false prophet. So this stuff is plain and clear now. I'm telling you what's happening, and all who just blindly follow this book and give it power over your soul, you're putting the book before who I am and not understanding why I am writing these words into the heart, because mankind don't seem to listen, if that makes sense. And so I am who I am. I am is the Messiah. Different people are going to try to snuff me out and stuff, and it's not going to happen. It's like the morning star, if you will, the light. So I guess I'm going to speak on something real quick. That girl, Candace Owens, just got fired from her podcast. And what she did was she was dealing with a famous rabbi. So this is the video I wanted to talk about with Candace Owens. And I'm not going to play it because I don't need any copyright strikes or anything like that. I don't know why she titled that like that, but you should really watch this video. It's interesting. Throughout the video, she talks about how they're trying to snuff her voice out and how they're attacking her because she is a black woman talking on, they're calling a black woman anti-Semitic after what she was called and how she was attacked. And so I thought it was interesting. I said, so now you're being shown what happens. You all this time talked about the African-American community. You said George Floyd overdosed on fentanyl. You said slavery was a choice. You said these black people do all this stuff to ourselves. And then when you did it to the Caucasian Jewish community, they attacked you and you couldn't do it freely anymore. There was consequences. But for some reason, after all this time, there wasn't any consequences for what you do to the African-American community. The conservative twins, how they talk about the African-American community. I went in their comments, and their comments were saying, their comments were talking about basketball Americans, NBA Americans, KFC Americans. And then one comment was like, "Oh, KFC's okay." I was thinking Popeye Americans. Like they're doing it to themselves. They're destroying themselves. And so then when it comes around and smacks them on the head because they can't do it to other communities, you see, so what is the line of African Americans and Africans? Ham, right? So we're trying to uncover all this wickedness that happened because of our forefathers, and then we get attacked because of it, and they call us evil, and they've enslaved our people and taken our lands and done all this other stuff. Look what they're doing to Africa. It's living out, I'm telling you. And so I'm warning you all, those who do not listen to what I am telling you, you are going to continue to be under my angry judgment, and you're going to do it to yourselves. And that's why I'm bringing the name. And then they won't be able to hide behind the mountains and the rocks and the caves and stuff anymore. The sun will illuminate all things, if that makes sense. And no more will they darken the sun and put blood and speckles all over the moon, if that makes sense. So you guys are going to do it to yourselves, if that makes sense.
Deep within, here we go, but somehow I'm caught in the middle. Is this the end before we've even begun? Should I work against the flow, a drop in the ocean so endless, reaching for our moments miles above? I just need one, diving in to all this endless space, falling stars, but still I see you. Sweet escape, a lovely start, but letting go's the hardest part. Swimming in this deep, deep blue. Hold my breath, looking up. Life moves in waves that keeps changing. Catch a glimpse of what was you and me. It's gone again. Sinking in, back on the shore. One foot in front of the other. Close my eyes and feel you hold my hand just like you used to back then. These hopes dance high like sparks before they go out. But in that second, you're still mine. Diving in to all this endless space, falling stars, but still I see you. A sweet escape, a lovely start, but letting go's the hardest part. Swimming in this deep, deep blue. I know I'm floating on this dream, but soon comes morning. For now I'll embrace our wondrous sea. Diving in to all this endless space, falling stars, but still I see you. Sweet escape, a lovely start, but letting go's the hardest part. Swimming in this deep, deep blue. I'm diving in, falling stars, lovely start. Swimming in this deep, deep blue. When there's no more hope is left in me, I can see what comes my way.